Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 199 of our trip around the United States. We pushed our way out of Austin this morning on what is, oh I sure hope, the coldest morning of our trip so far. It is literally freezing out here at 16 degrees and it is snowing around us right now. Fortunately, it's just little snow flurries and it hasn't made much accumulation on the ground. So the driving conditions are still good and we still expect to be able to cover our 300 miles today. Right now, we are at the Dead Man's Hole, just north of Marble Falls. From here, we're going to drop south just a little bit and then begin making our way steadily west and north through the day. We're going to make our way through Fredericksburg and eventually bring our day to an end when we reach the city of San Angelo. We are not interested in doing any significant hiking today. I want to remain relatively close to the car so that we are not freezing our butts off out here. So we're going to be doing the ones that are park and grabs. Anything that's more than half a mile hike, that's going off the list for us. Hopefully we'll be able to stay warm as we make our way into San Angelo. Come on, let's go check it out.
The earliest recorded discovery of this odd geological feature, the Dead Man's Hole, was 1821. It is believed that up to 17 bodies were dumped into the hole during the Civil War era. With freezing cold temperatures and snow flurries all around us, we were more than a little worried that the roads would become undrivable as we progressed further and further into the hill country. We were very happy to see that this was not the case. The roads were dusted slightly, but at no point did they become undrivable. The surprisingly good road conditions allowed us to move quickly from one find to the next, crunching across the frozen landscape as we made our way toward each of the hides we sought. Even though everything that we did today was fairly close to the car, there was quite a bit of variety to be had in our geocaches. We may encounter 2 or 3 of the same hide style throughout the day, but for the most part, those were varied and spread between other counties. The one thing that all of the geocaches we found had in common is that they were located within the frozen landscape. This sometimes made the lids very difficult to remove, and at one point I had to remove all of my glove layers to be able to pull the top off of a container, with my fingers freezing almost instantly. My definite favorite of the day was an ammo can hidden near an RV park. It was very well camouflaged, so it fit right in with its surroundings. And it was also quite loaded with swag, which is always a great thing to see when you pop the top open on an ammo can. I've seen advertisements that look very real, like money sitting in a wallet, so I already knew what this one was sitting on the side, but I still find these to be quite humorous, as they do get people to open it up and take a look at the ads inside. Our first major stop of the day was Johnson City, the county seat of Blanco County. And while Johnson City was the boyhood home of the 36th President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson, that is not actually what it's named for. That just happens to be a happy Johnson coincidence. The city was originally founded in 1879 by James P. Johnson, but named for early settler Sam E. Johnson Sr. That is quite a few big Johnsons hanging out in this city. On our way into Fredericksburg, we stopped into Luckenbach about 13 miles out in pursuit of a virtual. This place is known for its country music venue and German heritage, and reminds me of a place I spent a lot of time in outside of Yucca Valley, Happy and Harriet's pioneer town. Just like there, Luckenbach maintains a ghost town feel with a very small population and a strong Western aesthetic. They also host live music events here each weekend. And while it was quiet and emptied at the time of my visit in the middle of a day on a weekday, I had no difficulty picturing hundreds of people here having drinks and a good time.
Just from what I see right here, I can tell you this is going to be a happening place to come out to on a Friday or Saturday night. We had those giant pongs at the last party that we threw in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a lot of fun. Not to mention that they've got 4 sets of cornhole boards right there. Definitely recommend coming out here if you're in the area.
A very short hop out of Luckenbach saw us into Fredericksburg, the county seat of a Gillespie County with a population of right around 10,000 people. Founded in 1846 and named after Prince Frederick of Prussia, many of the old-time German residents refer to Fredericksburg as Fritztown, and you can still see that nickname in use in some of the local businesses. I was a bit wary of pursuing the virtual here in the downtown area, as it is 6 stages with none of the waypoints included as additional waypoints. But once I entered them into my GPS, I was happy to see that they were all located within one park. The Marktplatz von Fredericksburg is a city park with playgrounds, pavilions, a museum, and lots of historical displays about the town's history. It was here in 1847 that the German immigrants living around Fredericksburg negotiated a peace treaty with the Comanche. The treaty allowed settlers to traverse Comanche territory and vice versa, and was never broken by either side of the agreement. Coming into Llano County, we made our way to the Enchanted Rock State Natural Area, where a massive pink granite dome rises above the central Texas landscape.
All of our targets here in this county are supposed to be in the Enchanted Rock State Natural Area. But, number one, I'm in no mood to hike on these trails to go find them. Neither is Aichan. Number two, they've actually closed the state natural area today. So even if we were willing to brave the conditions, which we're not, we actually can't go hiking here. So we're gonna push on into the city and grab some alternate targets there instead. But I'm gonna go ahead and save this for a future bucket list item, because I know this is the kind of trail that Mrs. Mag would enjoy to hike as well.
Like I've said before, the key to any good plan is flexibility. You have to be able to change when the situation requires it. So we made our way into the city of Llano, the county seat of Llano County. And we were certainly not disappointed with the visit. It features a beautiful county courthouse with several veterans memorials spread around the grounds for us to check out. We also stopped to do several geocaches around town, including one that was recommended by a local on our way in. The timing was just too good to pass up, so we couldn't resist it. An important thing to note driving into or back out of Llano, especially on a snowy day like this, is that this is the deer capital of Texas, with the single highest density of white-tailed deer found within the United States. I was very happy, though, with as much driving as we were doing, that the only white-tailed deer I saw was the one that was carved into a tree right next to the base of the bridge. Bouncing over to the next county seat from there, we headed on into the city of Mason. While there are several things to see in town, we were here for one reason. This is the hometown of Fred Gibson, who wrote 12 books, including Old Yeller. Featured directly in front of the Bevan Eckert Memorial Library, you can find the Old Yeller statue, which is a monument to this book and the author who grew up and lived right here in this town. One of our very last stops, with daylight still left on our side, was the Presidio San Saba, founded in 1775 and operated by the colonial Spanish army until it was abandoned in 772 by order of the Viceroy of New Spain. The ruins of this fort are free to visit with no admission charge and a self-guided tour available. I, of course, did not have to take a self-guided tour. As soon as I pulled up, my tour guide came immediately to the car and started talking to me, walking me through the grounds and showing me through a bit of history. In fact, I would like to introduce you to my adorable, furry tour guide.
Now this is a friendly kitty. All this kitty wants is to get in the warm car with me and go on a trip. I know that's what you've been saying to me since I pulled up. We can't do it. I can't take you with me, little kitty. Pet you a little bit though, you sure are cute. I'm sure she knows that car is warm and she wants in it. It doesn't matter where we're going, as long as it's a warm place. Yeah, good kitty. Good kitty. A good kitty you are. What a good kitty. Yeah, good kitty. I guess that's how this is gonna work, huh? I got a new co-pilot here.
Saying our goodbyes and showing our appreciation for the nicest tour guide that we've ever had, Aichan and I made our way steadily towards San Angelo, enjoying a very long-lasting sunset along the way. While today did not turn out exactly as planned, and it was the coldest day that we've had yet on this trip, it still turned out to be a pretty fantastic day with a great closing.
All right, travelers, it looks like we are all out of light for our day, but we are actually in our last county just shy of San Angelo right now. We're gonna have no problem finishing the remaining targets for the day, and we'll just barely have missed having light to finish those last few targets on our list. Despite it having been 16 degrees when we woke up today, it has warmed up quite a bit throughout the day. Now it is a nice, balmy 26 degrees. Yeah, it's still freezing out here, but at least the road conditions have been great all day long. There's been snow on and off depending on where we are. Since it's hill country, as we've gone up in elevation, we've seen a lot more snow. But at all times today, the roads have been clear and easily traversable, and we have not been slowed down in the least to make our way from one target to the next. We had a great time touring through the different small towns today, and I particularly loved the San Saba because of that wonderfully friendly kitty that we encountered. I couldn't do anything to keep it warm. I didn't know if somebody owned it or not, and I certainly didn't want to kidnap it, but at least I was able to give it some food in its belly, and that seemed to do the trick for some part here. I cannot wait for a few more days from now, because while tomorrow is going to be just as freezing as it was today, it will start to warm up in the next couple of days after that. Can't wait for warmer temperatures, and the dog can't either, because she's not feeling this 16 to 20 degree weather right now. Thank you guys for joining us as we made our way out of Austin into the hill country today. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.